once you become clear, once I became clear, it was very easy for me to stay committed and to stay focused.
You have to stay committed to whatever it is that you picked, as far as like whatever your one way is.
Listen internally, listen to voices that that's calling you.
It's important that you understand what your real self, your internal self, is really trying to tell you.
Be ready to change yourself. Be ready to challenge your better self. Know that your mind can develop a passionate winning spirit, but not by yourself. We guarantee your family in love with your life, and you're gonna love all the grind. Lewis and Bars together, we develop your mindset with vitamin C for your mind. Don't you settle with what you know. There's much to learn, there's much to earn. Tell yourself, I'm ready to fight, ready to be heard. Out of success and awakening rise. There's so many words that turn into prices. Be ready to change for the best. Step up and be great. Don't be like the rest. Develop your mindset.
Alright, so number 49, we're gonna start our podcast again, Develop Your Mindset. And today we have something special because we've been experiencing a lot being in downtown Los Angeles. We've been experiencing a lot of protests downstairs, and a lot of people yelling, screaming different things. Meanwhile, we're so focused on doing what we're so good at, like building our company, working on our future, working online, developing website. We're developing designs, and we are a jewelry company, and we went through so much again this week. And I've been thinking, what is it? Like what we went through, and all I could think about was one way. Like there's got to be a way where we can stay relevant, we'll stay on path. So we're gonna be talking about this kind of things today because this is what we experience. I feel so so emotionally connected with this, and so every question has one way, and we're gonna be talking about what does it mean, what we're doing with this one way methodology. So number one question is gonna be before that, Luis, thank you again. Saturday, we're starting a little bit late, and please do your little opening.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back on the podcast, and yeah, like Mario said, I mean, there's a lot of things that have been going on throughout the week, and yeah, we're definitely gonna express, our thoughts and our feelings towards what's going on, and connect that to our personal lives through the podcast. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started, man.
All right, so we're gonna be going with the first line, which is one way to rebirth. This is something where I want to start from, because there's got to be some, at one point it happened with me, and I see this throughout friends and family and acquaintance. This happens. There is a point where I reached, and I see them happening with this other individuals too. There's this point where you come and you have to make a choice or make a decision before you move on to the next, and that is I'm describing as in one way. So there's got to be this one path, this one way, where it's going to be your own path, your own decision, which I had to make at one point. And once I was able to do that, that was pretty clear for me where I was heading, and I never looked back since then. So part of this had started for me when I was 14 years old. I had to make a choice, make a decision, what's going to be with when I grow up, what it's going to be with my life. And so I made certain decisions back then. Pretty much I never went to another different direction, and I always stayed true to that decision. That's why I became the designer, the artist that I am today, and that's what it takes. So that's why you have to, if you haven't done it, if you're younger most of people when they're younger, they're still looking, searching. So if you haven't done it, this is what you need to do. This is what needs to be done. Basically, you gotta find your one way, and then you gotta get on it and go all the way. Meanwhile, we're gonna be talking about certain things later on, what you can do on this one way. But in the beginning, this is how it starts. So that's what I did, and then here I am today. I've went through so many different aspects of this road that I chose, that I'm going to be talking about. And pretty much this one point you will make that decision. You will be forced to make it, because you can't be just doing nothing or saying tomorrow. You have to make this decision and then go with it. So yeah, that's where the rebirth comes in. And you will feel that the rebirth of new you, that you finally have a purpose now, a way, a road, the new way, and that's what I went through.
Yeah, so I think that at some point, you may be right now going through your life, and you may be doing a lot of things. You may be doing something here, something there, and so it becomes life itself just becomes, or at least your journey towards success, it becomes very complicated, very scattered, very almost like scrambled all around, because there isn't a focal point, that you're targeting as far as like your hard work and everything that you're doing in life. It's not targeted, it's not going to a specific place, but once you pick something and you commit to it long term, then that's really when you're able to really channel everything about you, all your skills, your energy, your resources, towards one specific thing. And I think that's really where the rebirth comes in, because once you become aware of that, you stop wasting your time, your energy, and everything that you have to really give, and you start to invest it into this one path that's eventually, within time, it's gonna have a very massive payoff. But you have to take that time to really devote your entire self into that one journey. That way, you're able to reap the fruits at the end of the day out of that decision. So definitely picking one way is a very good strategy.
That's very true, what you said. So next we're gonna talk about, you have to stay committed. Basically, once you decided, once you've committed, now you have to stay the course, and you have to stay committed. That's what this line is, which is, commitment is essential, because you promised to yourself that you are gonna stick to this road, this one way direction, and that commitment will give you clarity, and you won't be too confused any longer. It's gonna be very clear to you when you wake up in the morning. You understand and you know why you're waking up, and what you're working towards. Whatever that one way you have decided for yourself is, that's your way. And afterwards, whatever else decisions you make, it's going to be made according of that one way. And so it's you once you become clear. Once I became clear, it was very easy for me to stay committed and to stay focused and to understand I wasn't wasting my time anymore. It wasn't wasteful. It was actually, it was very fruitful, because whatever I've learned in the past, economies change, money loss, money gain, relationships, friends came and gone, different businesses during the same way that I was on, basically, that all gave me different perspective and gave me the experience that I needed, that I'm going to talk about the rest, to become today who I am. And they're all drive and came from being committed to that one way. When I was 14 years old, I made that choice and decision, and I kept reaffirming and repromising myself to stay in that. So basically, this is how it worked, and I've experienced throughout all these years, seeing customers, clients, people starting from zero, going to where they wanted to go. People, they started and then dropped off, and I've watched all these different things. Whoever stayed committed to that first initial, that way that they were striving for, they were the most successful. So in order to get success, you have to first find your way, your one way, and then stay committed, and then the success will come. It's the byproduct of all these kind of decisions, and pretty much decisions. And in the end, like you said, you're gonna reap your the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, so you gotta stay committed, like it says right here. So yeah, definitely when you commit to something, you're pretty much getting rid of all the other options that there may be out there. And while it may be tempting, to want to pursue and take on all the opportunities and all the alternatives that are out there, you have to stay committed to whatever it is that you picked. As far as like whatever your one way is to success, you gotta stay committed to it by really, investing into it, really, because that's really where you sort of prove to yourself that this is serious and this is something that you're actually committed to. When you start to devote your resources into that one way instead of splitting your resources between multiple alternatives, and then you're not really getting very good at any of them because you're putting in a little bit of effort here, a little bit of effort there, and it's all it's all scattered, and like you said, it could be a little bit confusing, but once you pick something and you commit to it, the path just becomes much more clear, and you're able to really dive really deep into whatever that journey is, and eventually it's going to become something massive, because everything's going towards that instead of a little bit here, a little bit there. It's going to take you so much longer to get to where you want to if you're going to be doing a little bit here, a little bit there, as opposed to just picking one thing and then going all out. You're going to get there so much faster. So yeah, I think that's really the importance of staying committed.
Nice. I have so much to say about that, but let's continue. I think we're gonna hit those points. So next is why you have to listen internally and go after your calling. So these are very important points, internal and calling. Why is you have to ask that question, why? And then once you have your why, now you have to listen deep in your core, in your soul. Who are you? What are you? What are you about? What do you like? What you don't like? Try to have a list maybe, and then write your list down, and then understand. If you already know, then that's great. Then you got yourself a shortcut. And listen internally. Listen the voices that that's calling you, and go after your calling, because it gets so much easier when you do something you love. When things get hard, when things get really tough, when things get really annoying, you have to still stay focused. If you lose focus, then that's not for you probably. You have to find that one way, and that one way should be your calling. There's all kinds of things out there that humans do to sustain humanity, and to sustain the travel, to sustain home building and everything. So whatever is your calling, you have to understand, you have to find. Whatever you're good at, you have to understand. If you're good at computer, then you can be doing homework or car work. If you're good at mechanical, then probably the computer is not that great for you. So you have to understand this. You have to, this is why this question is here, number 3, which is, why you have to listen internal and go after your calling. This is what it means. Find your calling and don't look back. You're not going to have different callings. Sometimes you do, but hopefully it's going to be on the same path, same one way, and that would make you even stronger. So find your listen internally and find your calling.
Yeah, so I think really listening internally has to do really with your intuition, really getting in tune with that and really listening to, that inner voice, not only the inner voice, but also the emotions that your intuition really gives to you, because I believe those are signals that, your intuition is giving you, is trying to give you a message. And so it's very important that you dive deep into those and really understand them and, just listen internally, before you go out there, you start to take action, because it's important that you understand what your real self, your internal self is really trying to tell you. That way you're able to make the best decision and pursue the best journey here that you're really going after, because the commitment will not be easy, like I said, there's a lot of alternatives out there, and so picking just one out of all of those, it's not that easy. So you have to find that, in order for you to find that one thing that you really love and that you really connect with, you're gonna have to partially listen to your internal self, and of course the other should be like going out there, do some research, try out things, but definitely listen to yourself internally. And once you have, you gotta go after your calling and go all in and see what happens.
Right. So by design, we have next question: start searching your own way. Basically, once you heard internal and your calling, now you have to start searching your own way. Now there's many ways you can start or to end to. Sometimes obviously we don't know where we're going to end up, but there's going to be a lot of choices in on that journey, on that road to the end. So it's time to do some soul searching, basically. And once you hear that voice, once you soul is relaxed and comfortable doing what you're doing, that's probably for you. And when you feel, this is all feeling, of course, when you feel that internal, once your searching is done, now you're gonna get to work. And doing the work is a whole nother episode, but basically once your search is done, you're gonna get on working and utilizing and working on that way and building your future or your wantings. And basically you have to start searching, and you have to make sure you finish searching and be on that path to better version of you, whatever that may be.
So at this point, you gotta start searching your own way, whatever your one way should be after you've listened to yourself internally. And now it's the time to start doing some research, start doing start trying out things, whatever it is that you feel like you really love to do, or something that you feel like you have a skill, you have a natural talent at, or whatever really catches your interest. Start pursuing it and start seeing if this is the one way thing that you want to do for a very, very long time. And really just start searching for it. And once you find it, of course you gotta go all in, and you gotta start taking action. Like you said, it's a whole different thing, to find it, and then it's another one to start taking action and start doing what you have to do in order for you to, like I said, you got to prove to yourselves that this means a lot to you. So you start to invest your time, your energy, and everything else that you can invest into your one way.
Yeah, so this one way got me to build this company, Kabarzi, and as you guys know, we have a website. If you guys are interested to see some of our pieces, please feel free to join. If you have any questions, please let us know. We would love to hear from you. What do you think of the website? And if you like anything, we'll gladly help you. So let's move on to choose a path that suits you. So now, when you're done internal calling and searching, now you're gonna find a path that suits you. There's gonna be a lot of choices. There's gonna be a lot of people telling you what you should do, how you should do things, and then there's gonna be a lot of loud noises. There's gonna be some trends going on. Maybe there's a lot of variations, a lot of distractions. Is that the word? Distractions.
Distractions.
What? Distractions. You got that right. So you have to really. That's why initially in two questions before I said we've been talking about go internal calling. So at this point, choose a path that suits you. Is after you're done initial work on yourself, asking the questions and finding out all this internal calling and searching. Now you have to choose. You have to make a choice. Find that path. Don't listen to all these noises. Don't worry about the trends. Don't worry about anything, because this has to do a lot with your well-being and your life choices and your basically this is going to be your own path. Once you make that choice, you're going to stick to it and you're going to go all the way. This is why this is going to be one way. And yeah, if you made a good choice, if you made all these steps correctly, you most likely are on the right path for you. And good luck. Seriously, it's not easy. It's not easy to be and to find your path.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to find your own path. So definitely choose a path that suits you. Like I said, you're probably gonna have like a lot of paths that seem like they're likely. Maybe you want to pursue this one, maybe that one, and so it's very important that you see which one really suits you and which one really resonates with who you are. So I think part of this is part of finding your one way is to really get in tune with who you are and your personality and really get to know yourself. That way, when you find something that you're gonna do, it has to be something in which you can express, who you are completely, so that everything connects, like whatever it is that you like to do. So if you like to, I don't know, you like to spend a lot of time on the computer, you like to talk a lot, or you like to, whatever it is that you really like to do, you got to make sure that your one way can actually provide you with that and enable you to use those things that you really like and that come natural to you and your personality. That way, once you do pick your one way, you guys, you and that one way can really bond really nicely, and you can really maximize, the amount of success that you produce from pursuing this one way. So yeah, definitely.
For sure, it gets so easygoing time when you are on your favorite path, favorite way. So that's definitely when I was much younger, I've tried different trades like mechanic or casting house or whatnot, and I did not like those. I made sure that I'm not going to do anything like that growing up, and yeah, you have to be clear with that choice. So next we're gonna move to make no excuses. Now that you made a choice already, don't make any excuses. this is where your future lies. So once you make that choice, basically your future lies on that choice. Now it's time to start putting the work. And more often I see people start making all kinds of excuses. I'm going to give you guys few things that really make someone stop on their track instead of going forward and then making that move, which is fear of losing, fear of not succeed, and then you have the other side where some of people that I know and I've seen over the years, they've tried a few things and then they kind of like gave up, and then now they start talking about what they've done and how good it was, and now they're confused, they don't know what to do. Listen, I mean, it doesn't matter what you've done at that point. What matters is you get onto that one way that you promised yourself, that you made a choice long time ago, and then just head on and hauling some ass and get there, and hopefully you're gonna win. You're gonna get there with lots of load behind you, and really, there's no excuse here. As soon as you remove the excuses, now you are basically naked. You have to deal with your emotions, you have to deal with your calling, you have to deal with your internally, your list, your commitments, your, what have you searched, you've found for yourself. You have to deal with all this. You're naked now. And stop the excuses, get on, on your way, on your one way, and then start kicking some ass, and the results will come in whatever way. If it's money you're after, it will show up with a bunch of numbers. If a family, it will show up with a bunch of hopefully beautiful kids. And you want to take care of your elder parents, maybe you're going to find beautiful people that they are going to come and just make your life so easy, and whatever they may be, so kick the excuses to the curb, go after it. That's all you have to do. And I understand it's hard, it's not easy, but I mean, you're gonna do it. There's all kinds of ways to do this. If you don't understand, read some books, read journals, ask for help, all kinds of stuff. And before I give it to Luis, it's gonna be again, make no excuses. This is where your future lies.
Yeah, so as far as excuses go, I think they're at the beginning they're gonna be something that they're very impulsive. They'll just really come to you. There's really no way to really avoid those, but what you can do is really not pursue them and capitalize on those excuses, and instead do what you have to do anyway. So definitely you're gonna have to learn how to just get through the excuses and just do it anyway in some way, shape, or form. And the thing is that you don't always have to be inspired. You don't always have to be motivated to do what you have to do. Like sometimes you just won't feel like doing something along the way in your journey, but you still have to do it because it's gonna move you forward. And sometimes it's not gonna come out good. You're gonna fail, or you're gonna have some sort of fear, and it's perfectly normal that you just don't do as good. But it's better to at least do and try, as opposed to just not do anything and just hold yourself back. Because once you do that, it sort of becomes easier to do that again and again, and so eventually, next thing you know, you've already set yourself back like a couple of days, months, years, and it's the future that you were hoping for. It may take a little longer now because you're making excuses, and you're letting those excuses hold you back longer and longer. So definitely don't let the excuses hold you back, and because that's really what will determine how fast you get to where you want to get to, and how fast your one way really gets accomplished.
Awesome. Yeah, So next, I'm so glad we're keeping a little bit short this week. We're almost done with all this one-way explanation, which is we both find ourselves on that journey, on that path. So basically, one way to freedom. So now that you did all these choices, you have no more excuses, you are on your way to freedom. So this is one way to freedom, basically. A lot of people describe, and I know it in practical life also, that money is freedom. So basically, when you have enough of it, now you can buy time, you can buy help, you can buy all kinds of things with it, and that would give you freedom to move forward and then do more of your whatever you already had decided and doing, and you're committed. So this is all happens because of initially what you decided and what way you've put yourself on. So during all this, it will give you freedom to do so many other things, and that's the road I find myself also. And because I put the work in, and because of the work that I've invested, it gives me time and freedom to invest my time into other ventures where it's going to expand my horizon, which is my business, my future that I'm striving for. And yeah, you gotta go with the steps, and you gotta stick to this one way, and that's where you find your freedom.
Yeah, totally. And I agree with what you said. The one way to freedom, and really, yeah, that could be like financial freedom, like you said. But also, like really just your one way to freedom to do really whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever you can help whoever you want, and ultimately, I think you can branch out to anything else as well. If you ever do decide to do something else, after you've committed to your one way, perhaps there's this other thing that you've always been curious about trying, but perhaps you couldn't afford to do it, or you just didn't have the time to do it, you didn't have the money to do it. Now you may once you pursue one thing, you can get pretty wealthy from it, and then pursue whatever it is that you want to do, and really have that freedom to really choose wherever it is you want to go after that, and so I think that's really the beauty of really pursuing one way, and definitely like that's the goal and the vision that you should want to have in mind every time you really pursue the one way.
Awesome. Beautifully said. So next is very important, this one, because you made your choices, you're on your one way basically. Maybe I'm talking to myself right now, and but there's this thing that you're gonna come into an intersection in order to not fall off and stay in that one way. You're gonna need, because it gets really hard, it gets really tedious, and it gets really tough, and to endure that tough, and that you're gonna go through a bunch of anxiety and a bunch of decision making. It gets really hard and tough. So you're gonna need this part, which is like, don't just stand by yourself in the one way. Have friends, acquaintance, and relatives, and people around you where you're gonna make where you're gonna meet all these beautiful souls, and you're gonna build friendship with these people, and you're gonna come to this realm, this place where everyone's mind and heart and unity is one. it's connected, and everyone's working on this one way to get to that place together. So that's what you're gonna need at certain point. You're gonna need people, acquaintance, friends, new friends, amazing souls. You're gonna need people around you to be able to do this really bigger than you. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck, and that's not a good place. I was stuck at one point, and I had to let go of my old self to find my new self, and pass this point where I was able to ask for help from others and come join me so I can make this better, because there is no just one thing you need to do to be able to do this. There's going to be multiple minds and hearts need to come together to be able to do something great. So don't just stand by yourself in this one way. You're gonna need some people. You're gonna need some help, and when the time comes, you're probably gonna know. And when you know, there's no excuses, like we said earlier, and you just have to do it. You just have to start trusting and do it better. Yeah.
So I think this applies like to really anything that you do in life. Like, never really just think that you can just do it on your own, because you can do it on your own, but only to a certain extent. Beyond that, you won't really be able to do anything massive on your own, and you will need friends. You'll need people really around you. You'll need to build relationships and have acquaintances and have really people who can help you out along the way. And so I think that whether that's physical support, where they physically help you out in some way, shape, or form, or it could be emotional support too, to deal with whatever it is that's going on through your journey, because it will be tough. It's going to be very hard, and so you need people along the way who can help you out in some way, shape, or form. So it's very important that you develop those relationships, and really keep those really close and keep those nurtured as well. Don't obviously don't be one of those people that abuses their relationships and is always asking and wanting to take from your relationships all the time and not offer something back. So if you're gonna have people helping you out along the way in your journey, also find a way to help them out as well, because they are doing you a service here by helping you out. So you want to help them out as well, and it's not always like the same thing, like the help that they give you, it doesn't have to be the same help you give them back, and most of the time it really isn't. You can offer your help back in some other way in which they need help. And so I think it's very important that you do that as well. But definitely don't stand by yourself, in this one way. Even though it is your one way, it is your vision, you will need people who can contribute to that one way as well.
Yeah. A lot of times people, they confuse money and people. See, money is byproduct of the best way you are on, basically. The products that you're making, whatever you're putting effort into. So you have to have the intelligence to divide money from people. And your time, the effort that you're putting in. So that's something you have to become smart about it, learn. And that's sometimes people I see, they miss that, and that's a good quality to have. If you don't have it, you have to search for it, and once you find it, it'll be all right. So as you guys know, this is Develop Your Mindset podcast, and we have our last question, which is, we always put develop your mindset on the one-way road. So we say this because this is Develop Your Mindset, and we here develop our mindsets non-stop, all the time. We are very conscious of it. we love learning, we love expanding, we love doing something new, challenges, and pushing ourselves into new ventures and that kind of thing. So now that you are doing all these steps, coming to the one-way road, now it's time. It's you're gonna find yourself that you've developed your mind so much, you've changed so much during all this that it's amazing, like where you start from and where you are later on. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. Part of it is because your brain is amazing. It's if you guys haven't heard, we've talked about this multiple times on our podcasts. Neuroplasticity. You have to understand this. This is real, and this is how it happens. And then do some research on this. Basically, your brain is plastic. You can reshape, reform, redesign your mindset. So it's if you haven't been doing it for a while, it's time. Get out there, develop your mindset, and stay on the course, stay on the road, and then just do some amazing things. We'd love to hear what you guys doing now, how this happened to you, and what it took for you guys to develop your mindset to this path of one-way journey. And I would love to hear and have open discussion about this. This is something that it really interests me, and this is very dear to me also. And I would please leave comments down below, and then I would love to hear that. And
so I think it's definitely like developing your mindset itself is going to be extremely vital, and I think to some extent it's going to make more sense for you to develop your mindset actually when you pick one specific road, because as opposed to when everything's scattered and you have everything like all over the place, you haven't chosen a path just yet. Developing your mindset doesn't seem very clear just yet, because there's nothing that you're really going after like really hard. So there isn't like that like incentive to really develop your mindset, because almost everything is probably easy for you because you're not pushing yourself in any of those areas. It's only until you pick one thing and you start to actually push yourself in that one thing when developing your mindset now makes more sense, and now it seems like it'll actually make a difference now for you to actually learn about yourself, learn about the mind, and learn about like everything that you need in order for you to stay the course and really not fall off. And so it's really going to help you out a lot by you developing your mindset, and it's going to help you, like I said, it's going to keep you on the road, and at the same time it's going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you working hard and getting through all those emotions that might pop up, that are kind of negative, and you'll learn how to deal with those in order for them to not affect you, and so that you're able to still stay positive and still stay motivated to keep going, no matter what. So
basically do the hard thing he's describing. Don't do the easy. It's not that road is not when the road is smooth, then you are not getting someplace amazing. When the road is under construction, then you're getting somewhere amazing. I feel like there's one thing I left out, which is when you're on this one way, there's going to be a lot of other opportunities, such as I'm going to describe what happened to me, so you guys can have this idea, which is when I started, I was working jewelry goldsmithing, which is like I was working with fire, with filing, with solder, with metal, and then I taught myself how to use wax designing. And then there was a time where I wanted to do the polishing, finishing, and beautiful jewelry, where I needed to learn this polishing. And then I taught myself how to do the polishing part. And then I had to learn wholesaling. I had to learn manufacturing. I had to learn repairing. I had to learn retail. I went to retail shop. I had to learn to do designing. I had to learn how to have a sustainable company. I had to learn how to work with my team, and these are certain things that you can add to that one way, and and these are all relevant things, similar things where it's going to make you even better, not any take your time from what you're doing. So I feel like I left this part out. I feel like this is a valid point to what we're discussing here. I hope if you have anything to add to this.
No, I think
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
all right, so yeah, I think we're done with our questions today, and we've came to the end. Don't forget, we are a jewelry company, and please, when you have chance, visit our website. Let us know what you think. Very soon we're going to be putting a lot of new products there, and we've been working on the website. We love to hear your feedback. Thank you. And don't forget to develop your mindset, because this is Develop Your Mindset podcast. I'm Baruch. This is here Luis, and you're going to do the...
Yeah, so thank you very much for watching another episode, and yeah, there's going to be links down below to our social medias. There's going to be a link to the jewelry website that he mentioned earlier in the podcast, kabartzi.com, so you can see all the jewelry that we offer. And we're also going to leave some links to our personal YouTube channels where you can learn a little bit more about us, and other things that we're doing as well. And yeah, it was a great podcast, and I hope you start to find your one way now.
Oh yeah, I hope so too. Good luck with your one way. Thank you for watching. This is Develop Your Mindset podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.